Okay, so for the Chrono Gorgo deck, or the Chronomally Gorgonic Guardian deck, we have one Reptilian Vashiki, triple Chronomally Nebra Disc. Wow, I can't say that. I'm gonna call them Chronos from now on. One Chrono Golden Jet, Chrono Crystal Bones, triple Gorgonic Gargoyle. This card's really good. Well, in this deck, and it's actually only just half bad. Chrono Crystal Skull, 3 of them. One Neospacing Grand Mole, double Card Trooper, double Maxi, double Effect Veiler, one Dark Hole, triple MST, triple Chrono City Babylon, double XYZ Reborn, one Bottomless, one Torrential, double Breakthrough Skill, one Evac, double Call the Haunted, and one Solemn Warning. For the extra deck, we have one Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, one Wind Up Arsenal, Peloditis, dang, I can never say his name. I even had someone in my comments sound it out for me, and I still get it wrong. Number 61, Volcanosaurus, double Chrono Maku Mech, one Silent Honors Arknight, one Downerd Magician, double Chrono Fork Huyuk, one Noble Swarm Beelzebub, one Chrono Crystal Chronaut, and triple Gorgonic Guardian. Okay, so this deck is mainly all about Gorgonic Guardian, because Gorgonic Guardian is OP like crazy. It has a Spell Speed 2 Effect Veiler effect that can be activated on both turns. Well, I mean, all Spell Speed 2s can be activated on both turns, unless they specifically say something otherwise, like Effect Veiler, and how it can only be used during your opponent's main phases. Because during the battle phase, that'd be kind of crazy and ridiculous. So yeah, it doesn't specify a phase. So Spell Speed 2, Effect Veiler effect, that also reduces their attack to 0. That's pretty ridiculous. It also has a second effect where if there's a monster on the field with 0 attack, you can just destroy it once per turn. That's just its effect by itself. And with that, we also have Chrono Fork Huke. I'm just gonna call it Chrono Fork. This one also has a Spell Speed 2 effect, but it's not as OP as Gorgonic Guardians, where it negates the effect. All it does is reduce their attack to 0, which is still really good. And you can also tribute one Chrono monster, then target one monster your opponent controls whose attack is different from its original attack and destroy that target. So you can pretty much activate Gorgonic Guardian's second effect by tributing a Chrono monster. So it's a little bit weaker than Gorgonic Guardian, because Gorgonic Guardian's kind of OP. But it's still really good, because it's 2000 attack and Spell Speed 2, turn 1 monster's attack to 0. And that's amazing sauce. Chrono Crystal, Chrononaut. Dang, I can't say his name. I'm so bad at pronouncing these names. This one, it's just only in here because it's a rank 3 Chrono monster. Because when you use Neberdisc's second effect, if you have a Chrono monster on the field, you can special summon this card from the graveyard, but if you do that, you can only activate Chrono effects for the rest of the turn. And yeah, so I guess that's why you'd bring that one out. One second, you can special summon this card from your graveyard and face up defense position. You cannot use cards effects the turn you activate this effect, except Chronomally card effects. You can only use one Chrono Nebra Disc effect per turn. Yeah, I guess you could bring this card out since you couldn't use Gorgonic Guardian. I wouldn't really see why not. It's just an extra option, I guess, because it is a Chrono card, but its effect only activates on your opponent's turn, and it's not as good as Gorgonic Guardian, who's OP. Also, Noble Swarm Beelzebub is pretty OP too. Since you do go for rank 4s in this deck, it's in here. And what this deck does is, like I said, it goes for Gorgonic Guardian. The way you do that is you can use Crystal Bones effect to special summon himself if your opponent controls a monster, and then special summon a Chrono monster from your grave. And this is a 1-card Gorgonic Guardian as long as your opponent has a card out in the field. Golden Shuttle is only in here because of Neberdisc needing same thing with Crystal Skull. Basically, these 3 cards are the only good Chronomally monsters, and I just need a third one to add in here. And it turns out Golden Shuttle is pretty good because he can increase the levels of all Chrono monsters in the field by level 1. So, just normal summon this card out, special summon Neberdisc from the grave, use Golden Shadow's effect, turn them both to level 5, and go for rank 5 XYZs. And since you can only use Chrono Monster's effects this turn, you're probably going to go for a Meku Mech. And if you've already decreased the attack of one of your opponent's monsters this turn, either through Gorgonic Guardian, which you couldn't do if you used Neberdisc, so it would have to be a Chronomally Fork Hook, then you would inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original monster's attack, and then this card would gain attack equal to it. And you could easily go for OTKs with this card. This is an OTK enabler combined with Chronomally Fork or Gorgonic Guardian, as long as you don't use Neberdisc to lock him out of his effect. Neberdisc is tricky, but he also does have a really good first effect where he's basically a Stratos, 1800 attack, and when you normal summon him, you can add a Chrono monster from your deck to your hand. Usually you're either going to add Crystal Bones or Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull is, you can discard him from your hand to the graveyard only if you control a face-up Chrono monster to add a Chrono monster from your deck to your hand. And this is awesome for setting up Crystal Bones. Pretty much just summon out Neberdisc, uses the effect to add Crystal Skull to your hand, use Crystal Skull's effect to add Crystal Bones to your hand. If they destroy Neberdisc, you can go for Gorgonic Guardian on your next turn, or if they don't, you also have Gorgonic Gargoyle. When you normal summon a Rock-type monster, you can special summon this card in your hand. Just in case you can't get off Crystal Bones' effect to go for a first turn Gorgonic Guardian, you can use Gorgonic Gargoyle, where you just normal summon out Crystal Skull or Crystal Bones, and then just special summon this card because it's kind of like Cage Tokage, where he can special summon himself from your hand. And he's a Rock type level 3, so perfect for Gorgonic Guardian. Card Trooper is in here to mill because Neberdisc effect, and Crystal Bones relies on having cards in the grave, and Card Trooper is a nice level 3 monster who has a really good, if you destroy him you can draw a card, and I really just needed to fill out this deck with more staples because the core of the deck only took up about 20 cards. Granbull, because he's a level 3 rock type monster, so he has a possibility to go for an XYZ with Gorgonic Guardian, and because Granbull is awesome for just bouncing cards back to the hand. Double Maxi and double Evectvillar, because I was just adding in staples. If you don't know what to add to a deck, just throw in 2 Evectvillars and 2 Maxis and you're good, because those 2 cards are good in almost every deck. Reptilian Vashiki is in here because this deck turns monsters' attack to 0 quite often with Fork and Gorgonic Guardian. So there's also a chance of your opponent playing Dragon Rulers and having out 2 Meko Dragon tokens, and you can use Vashiki's effect to tribute those to special summon himself, and she has a really good effect. I haven't actually ever drawn into her while I was playing this deck, so I'm not really sure if she works out that great with this deck or not, because it's already pretty overpowered with just Gorgonic Guardian as the base. City Babylon. Banish 1 Chrono monster from your grave to target 1 Chrono monster in your grave with the same level, and special summon it. That's mainly why you wanted a... Wait, does it have to be a different name? Yeah, so you can just banish 1 Crystal Bones to special summon a different Crystal Bones from your grave. It's really good because this deck is pretty fast, because reducing monsters' attack to 0 and just destroying them like crazy. And this card can go for OTKs like crazy, but you need other support cards. And this deck isn't about this card at all. There are already, like, all Crystal, OO part decks or Chronomally decks revolve around using this card. This deck is about Gorgonic Guardian. Triple MST, 1 Dark Hole, and then a whole bunch of staples. I also have Breakthrough Skills in here, even though I do have Evectvillar, because this deck does mill a little bit with Card Trooper. Call the Haunted. It's great for decks going for XYZ summons like this. You can also chain it to a Card Trooper if you happen to have one in your grave to draw a card off of an MST. And XYZ Reborn. It's also a nice chain to an MST. I don't like using cards unless I can chain them to MST. So Solemn Warning and Trundle Tribute are 2 passes because they're really good. And Bottomless Trap Hole is just because I was trying to fill up the deck with staples. But XYZ Reborn is great in this deck because you go for XYZ summons like crazy, and it's a nice chain to MST since it doesn't actually like stay on the field. It gets attached to him as an XYZ material, and attaching it to a Gorgonic Guardian is awesome because now you just have a card on the field that can negate an effect and turn its attack to 0 whenever it wants. So XYZ Reborn, really good in this deck, but running 3, you always run into the chance of drawing all 3 of them on your opening turn, which you don't want to do. And then Pelodites, because all of them are light type monsters. Well, the level 5 combo, they're both light. And this card's OP. Volcanosaur, because he's awesome. Wind Up Arsenal, just in case you want to take out 2 cards for 1. And then Thunder Charger to throw them on top of one of these after they've used up all their XYZ materials.